Now, something I know that we firmly disagree on, besides the place of government, is our current president. Obviously, I'm a Trump supporter. You're not. What is your single biggest issue with Donald Trump as president?
I think the biggest issue I have with him is the way in which he conducts himself. And I'm not super conservative in that sense, where I think a president should act and talk and feel a certain way. But I think it's an insane idea to begin with, to have one quote-unquote leader for 300 million people. It's a weird idea in the first place. But if that is the case, I think you should operate in a way which is more conducive towards diplomacy rather than divisive in nature. And I don't think he does it.
I do think he's made himself very accessible. And I think that that's what more presidents should do, rather than being this figure that's untouchable and that is perfect and that says everything in such a polished and charismatic way, and then behind the scenes is a completely different person. Well,
I agree and disagree. I think he is very accessible, and I think he's too accessible. I think he doesn't 100% think out what he says. I think, he's been caught in multiple lies. And I'm not saying that every politician doesn't lie, but some of the lies, it's like pathological. Like, you don't even need to lie about some of the stuff that you're lying about. It's just weird.
I think there's a difference between exaggeration and lying, but then there's also a difference between, I lied about
Define liar.
Well, a liar is you're blatantly trying to mislead people. He exaggerates when he says my crowds were the biggest crowds. I think that's an exaggeration.
That's a lie, though.
But when you're saying I'm lying about that, or I'm lying about under the table ransom payments to Iran, I think that there's different scopes of lies.
There's a difference in the degree of which you're lying, but the underlying theme is distrust, right? And so that's what he's given the American people, in my opinion, is distrust. And the issue with American politics in general, but today more so than anything else, is that people are choosing sides. Their moral compass isn't necessarily a substrate of who they are. I'm riding with the team, no matter how the team does.
You think that's on both sides?
Absolutely. It's why I disassociate myself from party. I don't view myself as a Democrat, but I tend to lean more towards progressive politicians naturally, because their ideals align more with mine than a conservative.
Did you vote in the 2016 election?
I did not.
You did not?
I did not.
So neither of the candidates, you weren't riding for Hillary?
Mm-mm.
You weren't for her?
No, I'm not a fan of Hillary.
You think she would be a better president than our current president?
There's no telling. I believe that she would probably conduct herself in a more professional and a more charismatic way. I think the issue that I have is, if you're going to be the leader of the quote-unquote free world, then it's an honor and it's a privilege. And I think it's something that should be taken with seriousness. And I think it's just something that should reflect the best of us. And I don't think it does that. And I get why people like him. I do understand why he shoots from the hip. I like that. But that's just not how I operate.
Do you agree, though, that he's one of the only presidents that said, this is what I'm going to do, and then did it? I mean, you have to give him that. He's followed through on his promises.
I don't think he had.
On what area do you think?
We said he was going to build a wall.
Well, it's being built.
It isn't.
It's being built. I promise you it is.
To say that the wall that he has promised across the entire border is being built is disingenuous, on top of the fact that he said that Mexico was going to pay for it. Those are issues that is demonstrably untrue.